Hello everyone, and welcome to the Thursday episode of the Butt Fumble Sports Show. And it's a special Thursday because there's football this Thursday. New England Patriots, New York Jets go head-to-head tonight at the Meadowlands. Kind of interested to see what we're getting in terms of a betting line. Seeing 6.5. Curious to see which side you're on, because thus far the long dogs are hunting early in the season. We'll talk a lot about the sports betting research and the picks throughout the show. Of course, it's Fantasy Football Eve, because if it's Thursday football, it means Fantasy Football season week is here. We need to get our starter sits in. We need to get our waiver wires in. We need to get our trades approved. So make sure you guys are throwing them in the comment section. Welcome in, everybody. Butt Fumble Sports is live across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and of course also on X. Great to have you guys with us across all of our platforms. I hope you're having the best Thursday you've ever had in the history of your life, because it is going to be a great Thursday. Hopefully we get everything right. The chances that we do are pretty small, but we'll give out the most advice that we can, the best advice that we can, based on the research data that we've looked at all week long, and especially today as we close in on kickoff of this divisional matchup. There was a time this rivalry was owned exclusively by the Patriots. Now it feels like the pendulum is swinging back to the Jets, at least for now, in the pre-Drake May era. Will that come true? How are we betting it? We'll talk about all of that today. Great to have you guys with us. With that said, let us get to your fantasy football questions first. That's where we're going to spend a majority of our time, is answering your fantasy football questions. If you do have them, throw them in the comment section. But before I do that, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're with us every time that we're live. I love talking sports with you guys, so make sure you're a member of this community. We will probably take questions for at least a couple hours today, so make sure you're with us for the entirety of it. Let's get started with baseball, asking about some football. Cook or Ramondre Stevenson? You're asking about James Cook this week. Buffalo Bills going up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been terrible against the pass, but so far against the run, Jacksonville has been better. Jacksonville against the run so far this has been better this year. The challenging part for me is James Cook's been such a dynamic running back in the first 2 weeks. I'll lean Cook. I know Ramondre's got the better matchup, but I'll lean James Cook just because that offense appears to be completely designed around him. Shaheed or Jammo? It's a great question. I'm going to lean towards Shaheed because the Eagles' pass defense has been dreadful so far this year. Both have the chance for big games, but I'll lean towards Shaheed. Isaiah44 on Instagram. Andrews, Bowers. You got to go Brock Bowers. Got to go Brock Bowers. As for the Pittman and Tyler Johnson matchup, that's a trickier one for me. Indianapolis Colts this week going up against the Chicago Bears. Bears so far this season have been a pretty good defense overall, especially against the pass. Thus far against the pass, they're like a top 10 defense. So I'd kind of fade Pittman right now, especially with how he's been playing. Tyler Johnson, I guess, is the better play, but I'm not crazy about either one, to be honest with you. Appreciate the question. Kittle is questionable. Gesicki is a good substitute. Appreciate the question over there. To those watching over on Kick, click Gesicki, Goddard, or Henry. Tricky one for me here. I'm leaning towards Gesicki just barely for Gesicki. Bob Jeff Supreme, do I trade Breece Hall and Tank Dell for Josh Jacobs and Amon-Ra St. Brown? I actually like that trade. I like it because Amon-Ra St. Brown is such a big upgrade over Dell. And frankly, the difference between Hall and Jacobs isn't as great as I thought it would be. It may stretch over the course of the season, but I like the trade. 5-star, Dobbins or Montgomery? I'm going David Montgomery this week. Dobbins has a tricky matchup against the Steelers. Tyler, I give up ETN for Aaron Jones and Shaheed, a good trade. I don't hate it, Tyler. I'm kind of on the fence. You're getting kind of two B players for one, maybe A-. I don't even know if ETN's an A-, so I don't hate the trade, but I'm not in love with it. I think you probably win it, but it's close. Frankie, trade Godwin for Ayuk. I actually like that trade, yes. Cam, Jets or Browns defense this week, and do we trust Joe Mixon? This is a tricky one for me. I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards going with the... I'm kind of caught. I'm going to say the Browns defense. We've seen the Jets run defense struggle at times. The Patriots are going to obviously run the ball heavily. I also think there's a lot of opportunity, kind of alluding to some player props. I think Antonio Gibson could have some yards in the passing game, so wouldn't be surprised if you could see him getting some receptions and yards there. But I think the Jets defense will play well. I still think the Patriots might be able to run on them a little bit. I just don't think they're going to score a lot of points. I'll take the Browns defense. Real reason for that is I've seen Daniel Jones right now, and I actually trust Jacoby Brissett more than I trust Daniel Jones as of right now. Daniel Jones hasn't done anything offensively. Jaden, Carr or Mayfield, Derek Carr this week, Wes Wantland, Flowers or Olave. I'm going to go Olave this week. Olave is the play. Should I start Garrett Wilson or Devontae Freeman? I'd start Garrett Wilson, but I don't feel great about it. Gesicki or Sutton, I'd go, that's a tricky one. Denver Broncos are going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So far this year, Tampa Bay, in terms of a pass defense, has actually been pretty bad. So, believe it or not, I'm actually on that one. I'm leaning just slightly towards Sutton, believe it or not. Even with Bo Nix throwing him the ball. Callum, thoughts on Jacoby Brissett under 155 passing yards? That feels so low. It feels so low. I would tend to say it almost feels obviously low. And it wouldn't surprise me if actually he goes over that total. And again, it's a lot of screens. It's a lot of bubble screens. It's a lot of stuff to running backs in the flat. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be throwing down the field a ton. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over this just a little bit. I'm not going to play the passing yards, actually. I think I actually like Aaron Rodgers to go over his passing yards total more than Jacoby Brissett. Patriots are going to try to take away Garrett Wilson, and I think they'll be effective at times with Christian Gonzalez. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to be able to throw the ball. Patriots' run defense is decent. I think you saw last week they can be vulnerable at times in the pass when even they're taking away one defender with Christian Gonzalez. Ruins, Kittle or McBride. Kittle is questionable, so you got to go McBride, but I like McBride anyways. Darren, 1, 2, 3, Montgomery or Chuba Hubbard? I'd go Montgomery. Mega Brick, start Purdy or Carr? Carr, Mega Brick, that's where I'd go. Blake, Waddle, or I'm going to lean towards Waddle just slightly. Evan, Gesicki. I do like Gesicki this week. Dobbins or Najee? It's an interesting one. Chargers' run defense has at least looked good so far this year. Steelers, same thing. I'm going to lean towards Dobbins just because he's been one of the best running backs in football so far. Landon, Mike Williams or Jerry Jeudy? I actually think both have an opportunity for a lot of upside. I haven't seen it yet from either one. I'll lean towards Mike Williams, though, because I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I trust Deshaun Watson, even going up against the Giants. Michaela Petro, wide receiver 2, Evans or JSN? JSN, Kelsey or Ferguson? Kelsey, defense, Jets or Steelers? That's a tricky one. I'll go Jets. I think just barely the Jets. Steelers have been performing so well, but actually, Los Angeles Chargers have a phenomenal offensive line. That's what's making the difference for me in that question. Tanner, Baker or Joe Burrow? It's Joe Burrow against Washington. Tyler, bro, what trades do I have? Rashad White, Olave, McLaurin. I'm not going to answer an open-ended question, but I do think you have some trade pieces here. I might move on from Rashad White. I might move on from T. Higgins. But overall, I think there's some pieces there you could trade. Landon Nettles, rate the 10-man. Hurts, Achan, Stevenson, Brown, Devontae, Wilson, Kittle. Little overloaded on the Eagles' passing offense. If that doesn't hit just right, I'm a little concerned. You're going to have to fill in for Kittle. So overall, right now, I think you're trending maybe closer to the low B plus side. By the way, breaking news, Texans tight end, Bevin Jordan out for the year. Bevin Jordan, he was the backup tight end to Dalton Schultz, but just bad news for the Houston Texans, an unfortunate injury. Brent, pick one tight end. Out of that group, I'm going to go Kyle Pitts, actually. Kansas City Chiefs had a tough time stopping the pass. Maverick, Higgins or Olave? I'd go Olave, Maverick, Olave. HTX, Hurts or Richardson? I'm going to go with Hurts. I'll go Hurts just barely. Thoughts on Hunter Henry today? I think he gets a lot of targets, might get enough receptions to make him worth the start if you're in a PPR league. But I think the Jets are aware that he is the number one pass catcher for the Patriots. They're going to try and take him away. New Jersey Memes, pick 2. New Jersey Memes, I'd go London, Drake London, and I'm leaning towards Shaheed just barely. But Flowers is a really interesting one for me there. I'll go London and Shaheed just barely, though I think you got some really good wide receivers on that team. Jesus, Dak or Carr, I like both of them a lot. And let me tell you why. Guess who the 2 worst pass defenses are so far? They're the Kansas City Chiefs, they're the Baltimore Ravens. Those are the 2 worst. But that said, the Eagles aren't far behind. The Eagles are 5th when they face Derek Carr. I actually am going to lean just slightly towards Derek Carr because he's been hot. I think Dak bounces back in terms of his passing stats, but I also think Ravens are a better defense right now than the Eagles are in the pass defense, I think. So even though the stats suggest one thing, I think there's a lot of Patrick Mahomes in that. I'll go Carr, Jesus. Carr for me over Dak. Brock Ford, should I trade Chubb and Smith for A.J. Brown? The answer is, I think, yes, Brock Ford. I'm not sure what we're getting with Nick Chubb just yet. That's one of the reasons I'm willing to kind of move on. Bancho Man, Mixon or Henry? Derrick Henry, that's the play for me. I like Derrick Henry going up against that Dallas Cowboys run defense. Riley, pick 2. Waddle, Pickens, Judy, Demarcus Robinson, Cooks, or Christian Kirk. Riley, great question. I'm going to lean for the moment towards Pickens. And I'll go with Brandon Cooks, actually, on this one. It's a bit of a gamble, though. Shank 13, start 1. I'd start Shakir, Shank 13. Yo, it's Timmy. 2 running backs for Yo, it's Timmy out of Madison, Warren, and Aaron Jones. Tough one for me here, but I'm going to lean towards Madison. And I think for the moment, I'm going to take Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones going up against Houston. They've been a good run defense, but I just don't trust right now Jaylen Warren enough, especially since the run defense of the Los Angeles Chargers has been so good so far this year. So I think I go Aaron Jones just barely. KCE, I'd go Parkinson in part because I don't know if Ferguson's going to be healthy. If I get clear, if Ferguson's a clear start, a clear health, 100% good to go, I'll lean him. But for the moment, I go Parkinson. Frosty Y, pick 2. Flowers, Moore, Brian Robinson. Okay, tough one for me here. I'm going to go Brian Robinson for sure. Love the matchup against the Bengals. The Bengals have been an atrocious run defense so far this year. So Brian Robinson Jr. for sure. Between Flowers and Moore, really tricky one for me. I keep wanting to believe in the Chicago Bears bouncing back. They're facing the Indianapolis Colts. So far this year, the Colts, they've actually been kind of a better pass defense than maybe some of us expected. So I'll lean towards Flowers for the moment. Frosty Y, I'll go Flowers and Robinson, though it's a close play for me. Formerly known as, I'd go Alec Pierce over Warren. Alec Pierce over Warren just barely. Rob Cummins, Swift, White, or Moss. Out of that group, I'm actually leaning maybe just slightly, I think. It's close between Moss for me. Moss is probably... between Moss and... I'm going to go Rashad White. It's close between White and Moss, but I'm going to go Rashad White. Rashad White for me. Whoa. Let me take a step back. Swift's going up against the Colts. Colts have been the worst run defense in the league. Sorry, Rob, I'm throwing you off here. Swift 1, White 2, Moss 3. I love all 3. I almost would want to throw one in the flex and start both of all 3 of them, because all 3, I literally in my mind was like, man, Moss has a good matchup, but actually White has a good matchup. Oh man, but actually Swift might have the best matchup. So I like all 3. I'll go Swift 1, White 2, but I'd almost want to put Moss in the 3 spot. By the way, those are 3 running backs that actually have a lot of value this week that may not be brand names across the league. Swift, White, and Moss, 3 guys you should keep your eye on. Obo, I'd go Shakir over Steele. Obo, Shakir over Steele. Ethan, Debo for Pollard and Jaden Reed. I actually really like the trade. Pollard showing a lot of upside value, and Jaden Reed's got a lot of potential, especially if Jordan Love comes back sooner rather than later. Don't know if you heard, Jordan Love is actually practicing. There is a chance he is questionable for the game on Sunday, so there is a chance he plays Tennessee. That could have a lot of implications. Just a quick rant for all those folks out there that like hearing my take on what's going on in the sports world. I think that's a terrible decision. Why are the Green Bay Packers doing this? Why are the Green Bay Packers risking their franchise? You won last week. I feel like last week allowed you you stole a win last week against the Colts at home. You're playing the Titans. Will Levis could lose this game on his own. Why would you risk the long-term future of Jordan Love? Why would you risk his season? Why would you risk even the chance he could come back in week 4 against the Tennessee Titans? They're not that big an opponent. It's not that critical a game. If you went 1-2 on the year, you could still find your way to the playoffs, to winning the division, to the NFC Championship game. Your route wouldn't change that much. But if Jordan Love gets seriously hurt because you bring him back too soon, that could be a season ender. I don't care that Malik Willis won last week when it comes to the full season. I care about it for just this week. The Packers should start Malik Willis for one more week, try to steal another win with him under center, and then bring Jordan Love back. Why are they rushing him back? It makes no sense to me. To me, it is a very rash decision that doesn't acknowledge the massive downside risk if he gets hurt. So, Green Bay Packers, do what you want. I'm not a fan necessarily of the Packers. I'm not against them. I'm not for them. So it's like, do what you want. I don't care. But all I think is Jordan Love is being put in a massive position of risk for what? A week 3 win against the Tennessee Titans? Makes no sense to me. But the last note on this, LaFleur is proven time after time after time he is a brilliant play caller. He might be a brilliant designer of plays. Dude is not a smart head coach. When it really push comes to shove, Matt LaFleur is not that smart a head coach. He's just not. He's just not. Anyways, let's get back to your fantasy football questions, everybody. Squalls368, trade Love and Rice for Evans and Cook. I love that we've got a lot of names in there that we can play with: Love, Rice, Cook. But that said, which side do I like? I like the Evans and Cook side more. Evans and Cook side more. Brian, Ramondre or London? Man, I really like them both. McDuffie against London has me a little cautious overall, but I still think even he plays well. I'm going to take London just barely. I know Ramondre Stevenson's having a really good season. I know the Jets have struggled against the run. But that said, I feel like the Jets defense is going, we've got to stop Ramondre. If we stop Ramondre, this becomes a win. So I'll say take Drake London. I'll take Drake London against what has been one of the worst pass defenses. I mentioned a moment ago, Kansas City Chiefs are the second worst pass defense in the NFL right now. So I'll take Drake London just barely. Tristab, trade alert, got rid of Rasheed Montgomery and Puka and got Amon-Ra, King Henry. I really like the trade because Tristab, let's treat Puka like he's not going to have a lot of value this year. So you upgrade from Rashee Rice to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like that. And Henry and Montgomery, I think, are going to have a lot of similar value. They'll get about the same number of touchdowns and yards, actually. I think they'll play similar roles for their team. Eric Anderson over on YouTube, what do you think about Jerome Ford when Chubb comes back? I'm not looking that far down the road right now. Jerome Ford has a really good matchup this week. I think Jerome Ford is a must start this week. I'm really high on him. Jack, Shakir or Waddle? I'm leaning towards Shakir out of that one. Waddle has a tough matchup. First of all, the Miami Dolphins have to fly all the way to the Pacific Northwest to play a Seattle Seahawks team that's looked pretty good over the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm very high on Seattle, actually. If there was one team that I think is being overlooked throughout the first 2 weeks of the season, I think it's Seattle. They're 2-0. They've looked pretty good in doing it. New head coach is figuring it out. They won last week on the road without Kenneth Walker III in overtime. I understand it was against the Patriots, but I actually think the Seahawks are going to win this week against Miami, and I think Waddle, first week without Tua, first real full week without Tua, and going up against that defense, and a long travel day, a long travel. I take Seattle, and I am not high on Waddle. That's my take on him. Bearded Hipster Dynasty question, should I trade Pittman, Palmer, Akers for Cook? Yes. Yes, I would. James Cook has enormous upside, not just this year, but the next 2 or 3. New Jersey Memes, pick 2. Mason, and for the moment... Mason for sure. I probably got to go Pollard. New Jersey Memes, Mason and Pollard would be the 2. Mark Gonzalez, MMA, Rashid Shaheed over Evans. And the reason for that, Patrick Surtain the second, matching up against Mike Evans. Tough matchup, I'll go Shaheed. B-Nack, should I start Dak or Purdy? Great question. I'm leaning slightly towards Dak. The only reason for that is because the Ravens have been the worst pass defense so far this year. Purdy's got a good matchup against the Rams as well, but I'm going to take Dak just barely. Kupp and AJ being doubtful. Pick 2, JSN, Pittman, Juwan Jennings, or Quentin Williams. I'm going to go JSN, and I'll go Juwan Jennings, actually. JSN and Jennings would be the 2. Chris, Moore versus Evans. Tricky one for me. I think I'm going to lean just slightly, just barely towards Mike Evans, in part because I'm trusting Baker more than I'm trusting Caleb Williams right now. Damon, Ramondre, or Josh Jacobs. Green Bay Packers this week going up against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans' run defense so far this year has actually been pretty good, so I'm going to lean slightly towards Ramondre. I'm also, again, I'm kind of concerned about what the quarterback situation is in Green Bay. Desmond Ford, start 1. Geno, Rodgers, or Purdy. Ooh, tricky one for me there. I think it's Purdy. I think that's the way to go. 5-star. What do I do with CMC? I'd probably stash him on the bench. If you could trade him, I would, but I don't know how much value it has right now. HTX, I'd go James Cook. HTX, I'd go James Cook. Michaela, would you start Stevenson over Chandler or Foreman? Yes, I would. Zane, Reed, and Swift for Jacobs. I think you're giving up a little bit too much in that trade, actually. Marshall, trade Etienne for Dobbins and Swift. The answer is yes. I'd rather have Dobbins and Swift. Walker P, Waddle or Deontay in a PPR. I'm going to go, because it's a PPR, I'm going to go Deontay Johnson with Andy Dalton in there. I think he wants to get the ball out of his hands quick to one of, probably, we can call it easily, his best playmaker. So I'll actually take Deontay because it's a PPR. Knarf, Ayuk and Cook for Connor and Shakir. I'd rather have Ayuk and Cook. Ayuk and Cook is the better side of that. Julian, JMO or JSN? Ooh, tricky one for me here. I'm going to lean just slightly towards JMO, though. JMO. Mrs. Lady, Aaron Jones, Shaheed, or DJ Moore? It's Shaheed. Mrs. Lady, Shaheed. Jadon, Shakir or Ridley? It's Shakir. Venkat. I'd go Geno. Oh, rest of season? I might lean towards Geno Smith. Caleb Williams just isn't showing me that he is that mature, that advanced for a rookie quarterback, so I'm not there yet. Papa Bear, I'm going to lean towards Pollard. Papa Bear, I lean towards Pollard. Jordan, Dell for Kupp for a trade idea. Kupp doesn't... I don't really love it right now. I don't know what Kupp's value is long term, so I'm just not there. Edwin, Moss, Ford, or Pollard. All three have great matchups this week. Personally, I'm probably going to lean towards Jerome Ford. The New York Giants are so bad. That said, I mean, Pollard and the Tennessee Titans, they're going up against the Green Bay Packers. They've struggled against the run as well. But I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, on this on Ford. Edwin, I'll go Ford, but you got some good running backs to work with this week. Brian, you got to go Brock Bowers. I love McBride. I'm high on McBride. I think you could even put McBride in the flex if you don't have a lot of options. But Brock Bowers right now is TE1 across fantasy football. You got to start him. Jesus, I would start Shakir. Jesus, I'd start Shakir. Sean, thanks for helping me hit my live goal, guys. Sean Mata, Etienne, Kittle, or Garrett Wilson in the flex. It's a really tough one. I don't like Kittle, but it's between Wilson and Etienne for me. Christian Gonzalez is the reason I'm going to go Etienne. I think Christian Gonzalez being paired up with against Garrett Wilson, it's going to make for kind of a lower scoring night for him. I'll lean towards Etienne just barely. Aaron Medley, Reed or Addison long term. Long term, I'd go Jaden Reed. I just love how they use him in the offense. They find ways of getting him the football in space. I like Addison, but he's got injury issues. He's not the number one wide receiver, and I'm relying a lot on Sam Darnold throughout the course of the year. Not crazy about it. 5-star, Shaheed or Metcalf. At this point, I will say I'll lean just slightly towards Metcalf, believe it or not. The matchup would say Shaheed, but Metcalf has been so good in the last few games that I'm kind of leaning towards Metcalf, even though the matchup doesn't suggest it. Preston, J-Mo, Charbonnet if K9 is out. Dolphins' run defense is kind of an enigma to me because the Dolphins' run defense, obviously it struggled last week against the Buffalo Bills, but in reality, that was just James Cook dominating in terms of touchdowns. I think I'd go J-Mo. I think I'd go J-Mo just barely. Brian, Adams or Metcalf? On this one, I'm going to go Devontae Adams going up against Carolina. Hill or Metcalf? On this one, just slightly, I think I'll lean towards Metcalf. Man, Seattle's pass defense so far this year has just been so good that I'm going to go Metcalf over Hill, though, man, that's a coin flip. User 76, I'm going to go Rachaad White. User 76, I'll go Rachaad White out of that group. Hunter, who do I start? Carr or Richardson? It's Derek Carr, believe it or not. It's Derek Carr. By the way, we will be doing a subscriber-only show tonight. We'll probably do that during the second half of the NFL game. So if you've got a bunch of fantasy football questions, not just one, but if you've got a bunch of fantasy football questions and you want me to answer all of them, hit the subscribe button on TikTok, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, and make sure you join us tonight. We're going to do a subscriber-only show tonight, probably around the second half of the football game. I'll probably watch the second half while answering fantasy football questions in the process. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you join us tonight while we're live. We've been live for a half hour. We got plenty of show left to do for everybody, but that subscriber only shows a way to guarantee you get all your questions answered. Zach, weird question, but a good one. How do you get my league to be more active in trading? Honestly, start a group chat. The best way to actually get your league to start engaging in trades more is to be talking about your league with your other owners more. I feel what happens so often in leagues that don't have a lot of trade activity is that things are getting siloed and you're not talking as a league. Maybe you guys don't hang out as much, maybe you're in different locations, but if you want to have more trades across your league, if you're a commissioner or you just love having trades, get a group chat together with everybody and just start putting out offers. Start literally treating it like, hey, we're all in the group chat for trades, for waiver. Hey, guys, anybody want Christian Kirk? Anyone got an offer? If someone does, hit me up off the group chat. Just start to engage the conversation, and maybe you'll get some people who are willing to bite. Noob DK, what do you think about Likely against Dallas? I'm kind of interested by it, but not enough to play him. Mark Andrews is still the play for me. Luke, Jacobs or Dobbins? Great question. Tough one, though. I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards Jacobs against Tennessee. Tennessee is a run defense, pretty solid, but Dobbins, I just don't like the matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are a top 4 run defense right now, so I'll go Jacobs. TDRO, Fields or Purdy? It's Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy. Jose's asking about the total for tonight. I'm going to take the under. I'm buying it up, of course. You guys know how I do. I would go under 42.5. Under 42.5 is a bet that I'm willing to put out there. I have a lot of parlays that are under 45.5 because I just can't see this game getting to 46 points. I could see it being 24-21 in a bizarre situation. I can't see it being any score higher than that unless it's a blowout for the Jets, and even that I don't see. So overall, I'm going to say this game is going to be under 45.5 as a parlay play. If you want to trim it as a solo play, take it around 42.5. If you want to take it under 40, I get it, but I do think the under's the stronger play. Here's why. Two teams that are going to run the ball. Two teams that are going to want to run the ball, and they're going to obviously bleed a lot of clock in the process. The Patriots want this to be a fast game in terms of clock, a slow game in terms of the number of possessions. They want to limit the number of possessions to make this a closer game. I don't think the Jets necessarily want to make it a high possession game. I think they want to make the most of their possessions. But overall, I don't think the Jets are going to be throwing the ball around like crazy, because I think actually they're aware that the Patriots secondary is pretty good. What's interesting about these two teams, the strength of both defenses are their secondaries. Jets defensive line hasn't been nearly as good this year as it should have been. Patriots defensive line missing two of the players we thought they would have when we were evaluating them back in July. Obviously, they traded Judon, but Christian Barmore being gone is a massive loss for this team in the run defense. So I expect Pollard and Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, Allen to get a lot of usage, not just in the run, but in the pass game. Don't be surprised if Garrett Wilson doesn't have a massive game against Christian Gonzalez. One stat for you, Aaron Rodgers has a passing touchdown almost every game he plays. So if you want to make some parlays, I would consider Aaron Rodgers at least one passing touchdown. Maybe take the under like 45.5 like I did. And then you could play it either way. Jets on the money line, Patriots at like a plus 17.5. I did a lot of those kinds of parlays. Jets money line, Patriots plus 17.5 in a teaser. Aaron Rodgers, one passing touchdown. Combine those, and then under like 49.5. Tie those together, you're probably in like a plus 140, plus 160 kind of ticket range. Throw a unit or two down on that. Pretty good return for the investment. That's how I'm betting the game, to answer Jose's question. Nico, Amari Cooper or Godwin. You got to go Amari Cooper, even though he's played poorly. He's got the better matchup. Jersey, Barkley, Dobbins, Etienne, Montgomery, start three. I would start Barkley, even though, man, the Saints' run defense has been so good. That's my only concern there, but I will start Barkley despite the tough matchup, and I'll lean towards Montgomery. Oh, man. You got some guys facing tough matchups. Dobbins is facing a top 5 defense. Barkley's facing a top 5 defense. Montgomery's facing a top 10 defense. Etienne's probably the best play, so I go Etienne, Barkley, and I'll say Montgomery, but this is a tough week for you. Desmond Ford, pick a flex. Jacoby, Dobbins, Zamir White, Wicks, Jawan Jennings. I'm going to go Jacoby Myers. It's between him and White with the matchup against the Panthers, but I'll go Jacoby just barely. Make sure you're hitting that follow button. Make sure you're subscribing. We're doing a subscriber-only show tonight. Think around 10 o'clock. We'll probably do it in the second half of the game tonight. Subscriber-only show if you want to get a bunch of questions answered. Ricardo Martinez, should I start Wilson or Breece Hall and Breece Hall tonight? I don't like starting both of them. I think Hall's the better play. If you don't have better options, though, I get it. I don't expect a massive game from Garrett Wilson. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but the way the Patriots are going to defend him, they are going back to their Bill Belichick roots. Take away your number one weapon in the passing game, either with my number one corner or double him, and use my number one corner on your number two option. I think they're going to have Christian Gonzalez on Garrett Wilson much of the night. E-Man 18, Ramondre or Swift for the running back? It's Swift for me. Bears are going up against the Colts. Colts are the worst run defense in the NFL right now, so I'll take DeAndre Swift against the Colts. Keep in mind, with Caleb Williams and the offensive line struggling like it has been, I think Swift is a good option this week because the Bears are going to go, let's play defense, let's run the ball, let's kind of dominate the clock and control the game. Would make a lot of sense for me. Luperio, Shakir or Jamison Williams? It's Shakir, and here's why. Even though Jamison Williams has a good matchup against Arizona, it's not as good as Shakir's matchup against Jacksonville. Jacksonville is the third worst pass defense in the NFL, and the way he's been the number one receiver for Josh Allen so far, I'm very high on Shakir. Love that start. Sugar Jeff, Olave over Chase, Jefferson, or Rice? Yes, Olave's number one for me this week. Emilio, pick two. Good question, Emilio, but I'm going to go Jacobs and Stevenson, I think. The Chicago Bears run defense. The Bears run defense versus Tennessee, kind of in a similar ballpark. I think I like Taylor a little bit. I'll go Stevenson and Taylor just barely. John 316, start 3, need a running back, wide receiver, and a flex. You got to start Swift and you got to start Ford. So that answers your running back and your flex right there. Swift and Ford for sure. And then between Diggs, Moore, and Waddle, I think I'm leaning the most towards Diggs. A lot of that has to do with he's the quarterback. He's got the quarterback I trust the most right now. Jonathan Stevenson, Ford, Najee Harris for Saquon. I don't like that trade, actually. You're getting a lot of running backs, but no one probably to the level of Saquon. Zach Woods, McBride or Henry? McBride. Romeo, pick 2. Romeo, I would go Jerry Jeudy, and I'm going to go Robinson. Jerry Jeudy and Robinson. Dash F, I'll go Jackson Smith and Jigba. Steven De La Rosa. I'm going to go Shaheed just barely. It's a tough one for me. I could go either side on that one, though. Bot 88. I'm going to lean towards Shakir. Bot 88. I'll go with Shakir for your question. Jay Gons, Evans, Pickens, and Charbonnet. Oh, my. That's a tough one for me. I'm going to lean, I think, just slightly. It's between Charbonnet and Pickens for me. Los Angeles Chargers pass defense has looked pretty good so far this year. I'm going to lean toward... If Kenneth Walker III is out, I'll go Charbonnet. If Kenneth Walker III is ruled out, I'll go Charbonnet. Beesby, Henry or Andrews? On this one, I'm going to go Andrews, actually. Andrews just barely. User 4984. Pick 2 of the 3. I'm going to go Gesicki and Kincaid. I think Kincaid has a big week. I think this is a bounce-back week for Kincaid. Hunter, pick 1. Allen of the Jets, Wilson, or Shakir. I'm going Shakir out of that group. Liberdad. Demarcus Robinson or Jawan Jennings? It's a great question. I'm going to lean maybe just slightly on this towards Jawan Jennings. With Debo Samuel being out, I think there's actually some value there. Nuv DK, pick 2. Nuv DK, I'm going to go Ford. Is that Brandon Cooks or is it James Cook? If it's... I'd go Ford, and I think I'm leaning just slightly towards that. If it's James Cook, it's James Cook for me. Iman 18, I'm going to go Purdy. Iman 18, I'll go Purdy. Chef Roy Juice, I will be taking live calls in about 15 minutes. Actually, Chef Roy Juice, yeah, about 15 minutes we'll take calls. 15 minutes we'll take calls, okay? Frost Y, what value could I get, Kelsey? We don't do open-ended questions here. Know the drill. John Higgins, trade Dobbins for Ridley or for Higgins. Right now, I wouldn't give up on Dobbins. That offensive line of the Chargers looks so good. I wouldn't move on from him right now. Lucas Rathwell got a trade offer, Jamar and Derrick Henry for Amon-Ra Kamara. I'd rather have Amon-Ra Kamara, so that's what I'm thinking. Gavin, pick 2. Gavin, I would go Ford and I'd go Ford and McLaurin, though I don't love it. Ford and McLaurin, just barely. I don't have a great feeling about that second option. Tiffany M, Mahomes or Mayfield? I'd go Mahomes. Mahomes would be the play for me, especially with questions at running back. They're going to rely on Mahomes that much more. Brian, Johnson, Judy, or Atwell? For the moment, I'm leaning just slightly, I think, towards Jerry Jeudy. I'm leaning towards Jeudy because the matchup against the New York Giants, it's close because I think Andy Dalton's going to go Johnson a lot. If let's put it this way, Brian, if it's a PPR league, I go Deontay Johnson. Should I start Carr even though I'm starting Kamara? Yeah, I'm okay starting both of them. Because I like, if I'm going to stack guys, I want it to be in the run and the pass game, not just on one side of the ball. On one side of the offense, I should say. One out of this group, Nikki Skills, I'd go Olave. Preston, I'd go Kyler Murray. J-Dub, 78, start 2. J-Dubs, I'd start Ford. I'll start Ford, and I'll start Brian Thomas Jr. Ford and Brian Thomas Jr. Sean, pick 3. Sean, I'll go Jamar Chase. I'll go Shaheed, and oh, wow. I'll go Chase, Shaheed, and I'll go Ford. Chase, Shaheed, and Ford, though it's hard for me to leave Madison off on the bench. Would you go Parkinson or Gesicki? I'd go Gesicki. Brandon, sit one. Oh, wow. Brandon, I might be sitting, man, Ford, Connor, and Shaheed. I love all three of them. That is a tough call. You got some great options this week, man. I'll probably lean for the moment towards sitting James Conner, but that's a tough one. Evans is DJ Moore, huh? Andrew, Swift, Moss, or Shaheed. I got to start Swift. Swift's facing a terrible Colts run defense. We're going to take calls in just a couple minutes, folks, so if you want to be a caller, line up in the call line. We're going to take calls in just a couple minutes. Tony, Derek Carr. Tony, Derek Carr. Wild West 40 Ford. Wild West 40 Ford. Here's my thinking. The New York Jets have some tough matchups over the next month and a half. Meanwhile, the schedule for the Bengals gets a lot easier. I would take Jamar Chase over the next month and a half. Not sure season long who wins, but over the next month and a half, I think it's Jamar Chase winning. Appreciate the questions. Hope you're doing well. Iman 18, Laporta. Iman 18, I'd go Laporta. Matthew Harday, Richardson, or Carr. And Henry or Laporta. I'd go Carr and Laporta. Carr and Laporta. Lucas, I'd go JSN. Lucas, I'd go JSM. Dallas Ogburn, I'd go Murray. Dallas Ogburn, I'll go Murray just barely. Pedro for the flex. Pedro, I'm going to start Zamir White. Pedro, Zamir White. Escatit, happy Thursday to you, man. I'm going to start 3 out of this group. Okay, I'll start Mason, Henry, and Cook. Mason, Henry, and Cook, Escatit. Mason, Henry, and Cook. Wingman, Ford or Pollard. I like them both, but I'll go Ford. Bot 88, tough one, but I'll go Moss. Bot 88, I'll go Moss. Moss for me. Bot 88, I'll go Moss. Should I start Tony Pollard in fantasy? Yes. I do like Tony Pollard this week. We are going to come up on some callers in just a couple minutes, so if you want to be a caller, if you want to join as a guest on TikTok, get it lined up. Zane Lyons, pick 2. Neighbors, Flowers, Ridley, Shaheed. I'll go Shaheed and Flowers. Shaheed and Flowers. Zach McNeil, start 2. I'd go London and McLaurin. Chris H, FSU. My running backs are Mixon, Etienne, Harris, and Edwards. Worth picking up Hunter. Pirine, yes, I'd go Pirine for the moment. Let's take our first caller of the day. It's going to be 49 GMC is our first caller of the day. Looking forward to taking some calls for at least the next half hour. 49 GMC, what's good?
Hey, how you doing?
Loving life. How can I help you?
Pretty good. I need some help on a tight end. I got choice between Parkins, Likely, Ferguson, or Gesicki.
I'd go Gesicki.
Gesicki for the week, and what about for the year?
I think Gesicki might actually have some good value. It's between him and Parkinson for me, right? You said, is Ferguson in that mix?
Yes.
For the moment, until he's fully healthy, I wouldn't put him as the number 1. Season long, I think it's Ferguson. Short term, I think it's probably Gesicki out of that group.
Okay, and then one more question. I got Taylor, Connor, Dobbins, and Brees Hall. What 3 do I start?
I'd start Brees Hall, and I would start, you said Taylor?
Taylor, Connor.
Yep, I go Taylor. So Taylor and Hall.
Taylor, Hall, one more for a flex. It would be Dobbins or, okay, it's Brees Hall, Connor, Taylor, and Dobbins.
I'm sorry, you throw me off. Stop! Don't name the ones I've already answered. Give me everyone else who I actually have as an option.
Okay, so you gotta be Brees Hall, and Taylor.
I already said I'm putting Brees Hall at the running back. I already said I'm putting Brees Hall at the running back. Give me just my options for the flex.
Okay, flex is Dobbins or Connor.
Dobbins or Connor. I'm leaning towards James Conner just barely.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yep, have a good one. All right, let's go to Jet. Let's see what Jet wants to talk about. Jet, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man? I have another day of tight end talk. I was blessed. Somebody dropped Travis Kelce completely. He ended up on waivers. I picked him up today, and now I'm looking at Kelce, Likely, and Njoku for my tight ends right now. Do you think this might be a good opportunity to get some value out of Likely, or do you see him being,
I would trade Likely. I would trade Likely.
Okay, and then what do you think as far as Kelsey? Should we be worried at this point? Like, obviously,
Nope,
he's had
nope.
two.
I'm not worried about Kelsey. I think people are overreacting.
Okay, sweet. So get rid of Likely and then just have Kelsey and Njoku?
That's great.
Right on. Thanks, man. Have a good day today.
Have a good one. Appreciate the calls. We're going to try and keep it pretty quick to make sure we're getting to as many callers as we can. So I'm going to try and keep it moving a little bit. Forgive me. I don't mean to be rude, but we are going to keep them moving pretty quick. Let's go to Kill 'em Johnny. Let's see how Johnny's doing today. Johnny, how you doing?
Doing good, but how about yourself?
Oh, just fine. How can I help you?
Yes, should I trade Stephon Diggs and Aaron Jones for Nico Collins and Najee Harris?
Hit me with it one more time.
Stephon Diggs and Aaron Jones for Nico Collins and Najee Harris?
Yes, I would.
And then one last question. Should I worry about Tyreek Hill?
I would be a little bit worried. I'm hoping that we see Tyler Huntley become the starting quarterback there, and that helps him overall. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried because historically, he actually has not done well with Skylar Thompson.
And should I put him on the trade market?
Yes, I would.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one. All right, we're going to get to our next caller. Brady Kaufman's going to be our next caller. We're going to try to get to as many callers as we can, so we're going to keep it quick. Brady, what's good?
Hey, so should I start Amari Cooper or Darnell Mooney this week?
Man, that's a really tough one. I like them both a lot. I'm going to lean maybe just slightly on this one, believe it or not, towards Darnell Mooney. The Kansas City Chiefs have been so bad, and I trust Kirk Cousins more. It's also in Atlanta, so I don't feel great about that, but I'll go Mooney in a bit of a risk play.
Yeah. And then another league I have DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, and Raheed Shaheed. I don't know who.
Shaheed.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, bro.
Have a good one. It's not the brand names. It's the matchups that we're focused on. It's the matchups that are going to dictate. Let's go to Romeo, keeping it quick with each call so we can get to as many as we can. Let's get to Romeo as our next one. Romeo, what's good?
What's going on? So I have two trade questions for you. One is, should I do Tank Dell for Zach Charbonnet?
I don't think you're getting enough value back because once Kenneth Walker III comes back, Charbonnet loses a lot of value, so no.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And then the next one was Jordan Mason and DK for JT and Michael Pittman Jr.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Yep, you're good. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the list is going to be Kyle. Got 13 people waiting on hold, so we're going to go quick so we can make sure we get to all of them. And those after that. Kyle, what's good? Kyle, you got to stay on TikTok. You leave TikTok, you mute yourself. I can't hear you. Got to stay on TikTok.
You hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I got a couple questions. Just for my running backs, I got Tony Pollard, Mixon, and Mason.
Pollard and Mason are the two I'd play.
Pollard and Mason.
Yep.
And then my wide receivers, I got Mike Evans and G. Wilson. And then flex, I have I actually had Mason. I was playing Pollard and Mixon for my running backs and Mason at flex.
So Houston going up against Minnesota. Minnesota so far this year has been pretty good against the run. I'm also a little bit concerned about that injury from last week, whether Mixon plays. That's part of the reason I'm kind of out on him. I don't love your two wide receiver matchups either, so it's a tough week for you, but I understand why that's why you're kind of looking towards in the flex.
I do have a correction real quick. I have Pollard and Jonathan Taylor as my running backs, and Mason at my flex.
Oh, then you're fine. Great. Yeah. Wonderful.
My other wide receivers, I got DeJuan Jennings. I got Williams on the bench.
Jamison Williams
on the bench.
I don't know if I'm willing to gamble and put Jamison Williams over Garrett Wilson, or Mike Evans, but it's certainly on my mind because they're going up against two of the better young corners in the league in Patrick Surtain II and Christian Gonzalez. So I am concerned about your wide receivers, but you may just have to hold your nose and suffer through it this week.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, Kyle. We're going to get to our next caller. We're going to keep them quick so we can get to everybody and a lot more. Next person we're going to have up on the line that was in the queue was Nelly3. What's good, Nelly?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How can I help you?
Yeah, two quick questions. I have Jamison Williams and St. Brown both. I had Puka as well, but of course he's down. So these are my prime receivers. Plus I have Flowers, but I didn't know, should I trade?
I would
one
try
of
to.
them?
I would actually try to trade Jamison Williams because he's so hot right now that I think a lot of people would go after him. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, as long as he can stay healthy, he's got a lot of value throughout the year. My only concern is you are trading the number one guy, and if he goes down, Jamison Williams is going to dominate in that role. But I'm actually willing to make that trade. Trade Jamison Williams right now when his value is as high as it's ever been in his career, and try to get somebody to overcome the loss of Puka.
Okay, great. Also, and sorry, one last question I have. I just stuck on my flex this week. Demarcus Robinson, Jacoby Myers, Eckler, or Carson Steele?
Hit me with it one more time.
Demarcus Robinson, Jacoby Myers, Carson Steele, and then Eckler.
Man, that's a tricky one for me. It's between Jacoby Myers and Eckler. Cincinnati Bengals have been pretty bad against the run, but I'm probably going to lean towards Jacoby Myers because Eckler isn't the number one running back in that offense. It seems to be Brian Robinson Jr. So I just don't have enough faith in Eckler getting enough opportunities. So I'll lean in the direction of Jacoby Myers going up against the Carolina Panthers defense that, even though it's not that bad against the pass, it's a bad team. So I would expect Jacoby to actually have a pretty good game.
Sweet, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one. Let's get to our next caller. It's going to be TTV. TTV is going to be next up on the line. Let's see what TTV wants to talk about. TTV, what's good?
Yo, what's up? So I have Zamir White playing the Panthers, or should I start Rachaad White playing the Broncos? I'm not sure.
I'm going to lean towards Rachaad White against the Broncos, just barely, I think. Broncos haven't been that good against the run either, so it's two really bad defenses against the run. I think Rachaad White just gets a few more opportunities. Alexander Madison might take away from Zamir White. It's tough. I like them both, but I'll go Rachaad White just barely.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
You have a good one. I hope it works out for you because that's a tough one. Those are two bad run defenses. Let's go Luca Wilder. Luca Wilder's next up on the line. Luca, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man? Glad you could accept my call. Excited to be talking to you. Big fan for a while.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, I got a couple questions for you. I'm in a bit of a sticky situation running back wise, as I feel like the rest of us are. I just lost Pacheco for however long he's going to be out for, and I've got Brian Robinson Jr., J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Walker, picked up Bucky Irving and Carson Steele, and I'm thinking I should flip J.K. Dobbins for another running back, but
nope.
You don't think so? No.
He's the best thing you've got going right now. He's got a good offensive line. He's performing really well. I wouldn't move on from him just yet, because right now he may be one of your best running backs. He may be one of your best players. Period.
Yeah. Well, so on the receiver front, I've got Amon-Ra, Nico, and Zay, who I think are
great. So you're not asking too much of your running backs because that flex position is going to be accounted for most weeks. So I wouldn't give up J.K. Dobbins. Nope, wouldn't do it.
And then a follow-up question. I was thinking about moving JSN and maybe somebody else to try to get Josh Jacobs from somebody else, but I don't know about that. I do like JSN, but he is on my bench.
Let's put it this way. I like Josh Jacobs. My expectation is that the owner of Josh Jacobs right now is probably putting his value above what it should be and will ask a lot of you because he's coming off such a good week. There's a bit more optimism there than there was even a week ago. The pendulum's really swung in his favor. So if you want to try and trade for him now, you can. Just know the asking price is probably greater now than even it will be in a couple of days after this week 3.
So you're saying Jacobs isn't as valuable as...
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's not valuable. What I'm saying is, or even that he doesn't have long-term value. What I'm saying is, if we just saw what we did last week, he had a massive game. And now it sounds like Jordan Love may play this week. The narrative is building back around the Packers, which means if I were a Josh Jacobs owner, I'd be increasing the asking price of that player probably for reasons that have nothing to do with his actual production. So even if you wait until after week 3 to try and acquire him, the chance that price comes down a little bit because he's not coming off a very big week. Maybe we learn a little bit more. Maybe the Packers' offensive line shows something. I'm actually more in favor of waiting even a couple days if you want to propose the trade.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I was thinking of waiting till sometime next week and seeing kind of how, JK going up against a better defense fares out to see if I should make a pull at another running back.
There you go. Okay, Luca, we're going to let you go and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Let's get to our next caller. Next going to be Seth. By the way, for all those waiting on hold, I'm just going in order, so don't worry. We'll get to everybody in the queue. We got you. Seth, got to come off. You got to get back on TikTok. Seth, there you are. What's good, Seth?
Hey, how's it going? I was wondering if I should trade Devonta Smith for Ayuk.
I like the trade, yes.
And I have Jahmyr Gibbs. I was thinking about trading for David Montgomery. Do you think that's a good idea, just in case?
I don't want to own both of them. I understand the idea of handcuffing, and it isn't a terrible idea, but honestly, you're probably going to have to give up a decent amount to do it. I don't know. It depends on who else you have. If you have a lot of depth and you have pieces that you can just trade to go get them, and it's not going to create a hole on your team, fine. But my concern is you already have the running back position from the Lions locked in. You're not going to get a lot of value from both of them most weeks at the same time. Sometimes, but not always. So I just kind of don't like it. I'm not high on it.
All right, thank you so much.
Have a great one, Seth. Appreciate the call. Let's get to our next caller. Next is going to be Chef Roy Juice. Chef Roy Juice next up on the line. Let's see what Chef wants to talk about. Chef, what's good?
Yo, what's good, Bud Fumble?
How can I help you today?
I got a couple of questions I want to run by, some start sits with you throughout my leagues, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
So, starting off, I have my RB2 as either Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, or Austin Eckler.
I'm going to lean towards Austin Eckler out of that group. I'm not crazy about it, as I mentioned, only because he hasn't solidified himself as that RB1. But the Cincinnati Bengals' run defense has been really, really bad. And I actually think that's going to be one of those closer Monday night games. For all those bettors out there, I think that's a trap game. I see the Commanders covering. I think Austin Eckler has a good game in that one. Again, Brian Robinson Jr. probably gets the touchdowns. But between the 20s, I think Eckler has a decent game. I think out of that group, I like him the most because everyone you mentioned is either splitting time or has a bad matchup.
Yeah, I like the read on it. I just worry that Brian Robinson will eat up most of the volume, but he'll definitely be available in the pass game, like you said, and in between the 20s. So
I think you're going to get the yardage. Is it a PPR league?
All my leagues are half PPR.
Bingo. I think that helps you. I think that's a green flag for Austin Eckler, in part because he is in the passing game. And so those are just a couple extra points you'll get from him that, yeah, he's splitting with Brian Robinson, but at least he's getting those.
Yeah. I agree with you. I just think that Javonte Williams is kind of, even though he hasn't had much production, he's kind of solidifying himself as the number one option in that offense, where other ones are more split. All right, next question here is
Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is like dead middle of the pack against the run. If you wanted to go with Javonte, I get it. It's just kind of like they're not bad enough against the run. The Bengals are obviously worse. I get it. So I understand your side of it, but I'm gonna stick with my Austin Eckler pick and live and die by it.
I'm gonna ride it out. I'm gonna go with you on that one. I'm gonna start Eckler Monday night game. It'll be the thrill of the Monday night too. Makes it more fun for the fans.
Let's do it.
So I got a tight end / flex here. I got tight end. I got 3 tight ends here because I had Ferguson go out. I picked up likely off waivers, and then Hunter Henry was available, so I had no choice but to grab him. I really like Hunter Henry in the spot over Likely and Ferguson, but I'm curious who you would pick out of the 3.
Well, I don't know what Ferguson's health status is. That was a really ugly injury, and much like the Jordan Love rant I went on earlier in the show, I feel like the Cowboys are kind of rushing him back. I don't think the Cowboys are that deep a roster, so if Jake Ferguson's out for the year or he has a serious injury because they bring him back too quick, that could really devastate them. I'm not going to lean towards him, even though if he's a full go, if they were like, hey, he's 100% or he's 95%, I probably would start him because the Ravens' pass defense has been so bad. But if it's not him, I guess I'd go Hunter Henry, but I don't like him as much as others do because I think the Jets are a smart enough defense to go, we got to stop Ramondre Stevenson and we got to stop Hunter Henry. Other than that, the Patriots don't have anything else. So I think he could get targets. I think he could get catches. But do I think Hunter Henry is going to have as good a game this week as he had against the Seattle Seahawks? I don't. So of this group, I'd probably say yes, start him because he'll probably get the most catches. And in your league, catches is even a little bit of an incentive to do it. But I think all of them are kind of in a similar spot, which is if you had told me it was a different scenario of the week, you could get me excited about them. But I'm kind of mid on all of them.
I agree. I've been struggling a little bit at this spot. Which one of the three would you drop to pick up depth on your team?
I think Isaiah Likely had his game of the year, and I think Mark Andrews is back. Until Mark Andrews is injured, which could easily happen at any point this year, Isaiah Likely's value just isn't there. And I actually think part of what's happened is Isaiah Likely's success in week 1 wasn't enough for them to win. Week 2, Mark Andrews did well. They should have won, and they blew it. And I think they're telling themselves, we need Mark Andrews to be successful if we're going to be successful. Maybe we're giving it to Henry too much. I'm not worried about Andrews. I'd be worried about Likely.
All right, I agree with you. I've made that move on my waivers already, so I'm glad that we're in agreement, and I have Henry started. Now, moving on to the flex, I have A.J. Brown out this week, and I'm not assuming he's not playing, which is the plan according to Nick Sirianni. So I'm going to go with either Khalil Shakur, Raheem Mostert if he plays, or Tajay Spears or one of the two tight ends that I bet.
Shakir. You want to know why? Because Jacksonville Jaguars pass defense sucks. It sucks. It's awful. It's a Hoover vacuum. It sucks. Okay, it's the third worst pass defense in the league. I got to go with Shakir. He's the clear number one in the passing game. I think Dalton Kincaid has a big game and bounces back from a bad start, but I think Shakir right now is the number one guy in the offense. I love Shakir.
All right, that's a good rundown. I have one more question on ESPN, but I don't have my app pulled up on my iPad, so I don't want to leave and come back.
We'll do the subscriber-only show tonight if you want to join for that.
Yeah, I actually got a charity event I got to go to, but I'll come back.
A charity event. This guy right here doing charity work. Oh, what a mensch.
Come on.
What a guy. Okay. Man of the people.
All right, man. Well, I'll catch you later. Enjoy the game tonight, and stay safe out there.
Have a good one. Enjoy the charity event. I will be watching football because I'm apparently not as good a person. Let's get to our next caller on the line. Next caller is going to be Bailey O. Bailey O, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How can I help you?
Do you think Khalil Shakir is worth a start at the flex this week?
100%. I don't know if you just caught the last call, but I had a mini boner over Shakir in his matchup against Jacksonville.
Okay, perfect. So I was actually talking to you yesterday, and we talked about Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
Jair Alexander obviously looks like he's going to be on Calvin Ridley. Do you think he's going to be on D-Hop or?
No, I think he's going to be on Ridley. I think D-Hop is the clear-cut number 2 in that receiving group. I don't think opposing teams are even considering DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think there's a conversation about it. In part, 1, the money, 2, the age, 3, the injuries. I think Ridley is the clear-cut number 1.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, man.
Have a good one, Bailey. Talk to you soon. Let's get to our next caller. Yo, it's Timmy Turner. Let's see what Timmy Turner wants to talk about. Timmy, what's good?
Hey, how's it going?
How can I help you, bud?
Hey, so I just wanted to see, I have 2 wide receivers. It's Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, and I have Raheem Shaheed. But should I put Raheem Shaheed instead of Tyreek Hill?
Here's what's so tough about being the position I'm in. You're turning to me for advice, and I want to give you the best advice. I want you to win. It's Timmy Turner. I want you to win so bad. And the answer is it's Shaheed. Shaheed's the better play. But that sounds crazy, right? That sounds so crazy. You're going to sit Tyreek Hill to play Shaheed? But that's the better play. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Or should I play all 3 and take out Tony Pollard out of my flex?
By the way, Pollard. Tony Pollard. Thank you. That said, I kind of like Pollard more than Hill. The Seattle Seahawks pass defense is the number 2 pass defense in the NFL. It's the first full week without Tua. The Dolphins are flying from Miami to Seattle. They're facing a great pass defense. I would keep Pollard in there. I would sit Tyreek Hill. I'm telling you what I would do. It sounds illogical, but I think it's the best play.
All right, thanks, man.
I hope it works out, because otherwise I know I'm going to be eating some crow on that one. But I hope I get it right. What did I just do here? All right, it's Timmy Turner. I'll catch you later, bud. Let's get to our next caller. Let's go to Kaysen. Kaysen's going to be next up on the line. We're taking calls for the next few minutes. Kaysen, what's good?
What's up? So, I have a lot of injuries this week, and I was wondering if I should start Jawan Jennings, Brandon Cooks, or Cam Akers if, their superiors go
I
down.
kind of like Brandon Cooks. The Ravens are the worst pass defense right now in the NFL, and if you think the Cowboys are going to have a bounce-back game, at least in the pass offense, Brandon Cooks is a part of it. Now, I will put out a bit of a teaser here for sports bettors. I'm taking the Ravens to win. If you look at Lamar Jackson's history against the NFC, pretty freaking good. That said, I think Dak bounces back from a passing standpoint, and I think Brandon Cooks is a part of it, so I lean towards him out of that group.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure CD might be out too. He's questionable or something.
By the way, I forgot about that. I forgot that he missed practice yesterday and that he's questionable. That actually does increase how I feel about Brandon Cooks just a little bit, but it also hurts him a little bit. I kind of liked him being a number 2 there and getting that kind of deep breath, like a Shaheed. Everyone's focused on Olave, and all of a sudden, boom, Brandon Cooks is going for 60 yards and a touchdown. So let's keep track of that. We may revisit that on Sunday, Kaysen, but for the moment, I'll lean towards Brandon Cooks.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
Do you think Joe Mixon's going to be healthy?
I don't like his matchup, and the injury worries me overall. I'd look for other options. I'd find something else.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one. Let's go to Manya. Manya is going to be next up on the line. Let's see what Manya wants to talk about. Manya, what's good?
What's up? Just made a trade. I straight up traded Gibbs for Jamar Chase.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a pretty fair trade. I think at the start of the year we would have said they're both first-round players. They both have had kind of starts. Jamar Chase has obviously had the worst start, but I also think there's a lot of upside potential with him. So I think it's a fair trade overall.
Yeah, I have Mixon. I don't have Mixon. Mixon's probably not going to play because his ankle's messed up.
Yeah, I'm not high on Mixon this week. Not high on Mixon this week.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I traded Gibbs for Chase because the reason why I did is because Cubs out for at least 5 weeks, maybe till the bye, and then I have Saquon and Cook.
Oh, it's a great duo. I actually thought what you were really going to say is the Cincinnati Bengals over the next few weeks play the Washington Commanders, the Carolina Panthers, the Baltimore Ravens, the New York Giants. Those are 4 of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. There is a lot of upside with Jamar Chase over the next month. And let's be honest, if we think of the fantasy football season, much like we think of the NFL season, we're kind of breaking it up into quarters. It's not the full year all at once. It's breaking it up into chunks that are how are you playing your team? Next month, Jamar Chase could be the best wide receiver over the next 4 or 5 weeks. On the other side, Jahmyr Gibbs and the Detroit Lions. Lions are going up against Arizona this week, but then they play Seattle, good run defense. They are on a bye. Then they play Dallas, Minnesota, Tennessee. It's not Jamar Chase is the better own, so I like the play.
Yeah, because I also got Burrow. I traded for Burrow as well.
That I'm not high on. I don't like stacking quarterback and wide receiver. That's just me.
I know.
You do have a good stretch here over the next 4 weeks, though, so I'm not going to double talk here and be like, I don't like stacking. By the way, you have great 4-week matchups, so you could get a lot out of it, but once that 4-week honeymoon period ends, you might want to think about maybe looking at other quarterback options.
Well, yeah, I have 2 on IR. Hopefully, if he comes back somehow.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good strategy, Manyan.
Also, what's it called? Question: would you trade? I don't like Terry McLaurin right now. I know it's he's with a young quarterback.
Yeah.
But Jaden Daniels has high rushing upside, which is a reason why he's not getting the ball. He's running most of the time.
Yep.
Should I trade? I'm not trying to be a biased Packers fan, but I am at the same time. Should I trade Terry McLaurin in a trade for Reed?
Yes. any other wide receiver on the Packers, and I would have said no. But Reed is the one guy, and you know this because you're a Packers fan. They use him in the run game. They use him in the pass game. They use him in screens. They use him downfield. They want to get him the ball. He is their secret weapon. He's their Swiss Army knife. I'm a huge fan of his in fantasy because even the weeks in which he doesn't score a touchdown, they're still using him as a major weapon in the offense. So doesn't matter who the quarterback is, doesn't matter how Josh Jacobs plays. I think Jayden Reed is the guy that they're going to consistently use as that secret weapon every week that you just don't know how they'll use him that particular game. So I'm very high on him.
Yeah,
and for McLaurin, I get it. Do I love the trade? Probably not season long because I still think McLaurin's value comes back more to our expectation level. But I get it. Here's the one thing I will say, though. McLaurin plays Cincinnati this week, Arizona next, then Cleveland. Okay? Think of that what you will. After that, he plays Baltimore, which is the worst pass defense in the league right now, Carolina, Chicago, and New York. So a tough 3 weeks, followed by a good 3 weeks. I'm just letting you know how the schedule plays out for him.
So would you wait it out? Like, I was thinking of doing the trade this week or just, like, waiting it out. Like, if he doesn't do well against the Bengals, like, I'll understand. But, like, wait 3 more weeks. You know, I'm desperate.
No. I'm totally up with that. Here's my only point, though. The Green Bay Packers have a tougher schedule coming up than Washington does. I'd actually be willing to ride it out with McLaurin an extra week. Just see how it goes.
Okay, and then just one more. I just want to tell you my 10-man. I have Jaden Daniels, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Dalton Kincaid, Brian Robinson, and Brandon Aubrey.
This is a playoff lineup. Really like this lineup. Can it win a championship? Things will have to go right for you in the playoff stretch, that 3-4 week span. But this is a team that'll make the playoffs.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Appreciate the call. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the line is going to be Dylan B. Chillin. We're trying to get to as many calls as we can, so we're going to be pretty quick with our calls, even though that one went a little long. Dylan, what's good?
What's up, man? Just a quick, simple question for you.
Yep.
Am I going C.J. Stroud or do I throw in Carr this week?
Derek Carr.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, Dylan. Talk to you soon. Let's get to our next caller. Next on the line is going to be Hunter Williams. Hunter dropped on us. Sorry about that, Hunter. Come back to us. Alwarzo is going to be next up on the line. Alwarzo, what's good?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
How can I help you?
Good. Big fan. Quick question. So I got, I need 3 guys. Say Brown, DK, Shaheed, Shakir, and London. Who should I start? The top 3.
Hit me with it one more time.
St. Brown, DK, Shaheed, Shakir, and London.
Wow, you have like 4 wide receivers I love. How many do I get to pick?
3.
Shakir for sure, London for sure, and then give me the 3 that I haven't picked.
St. Brown, DK, and Shaheed.
Man. Between St. Brown and Shaheed, that's tough. I'm gonna go Shaheed. I'm gonna go with what the best matchups are. I can't believe I'm saying sit St. Brown though. Man, that's tough.
Yeah, because I know they're going against Arizona, so.
But Arizona's pass defense hasn't been as bad. It hasn't been as bad as that Eagles pass defense. So,
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying Shaheed, Shakir, and London? Man. Because I know DK has been pretty good.
No. Sit DK out of that group. Sit DK for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to stick with what... I want to get St. Brown in there really bad, but it's between Shaheed and St. Brown. I'll flip a coin on that one and hold my nose.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Have a good one, Alwarzo. Let's get to our next caller. Next one on the line is going to be Danny $. Forgive me for all those that are waiting. We're doing the best we can. So let's go to Danny.
What's up?
Danny, what's good?
I was just curious if you think trading Rashad White for, what's his name, for Ramondre Stevenson was a good deal.
I think it's a fair trade. I think probably Ramondre has a little bit more upside, maybe a little bit, but not crazy about either one being anything more than a flex / a running back 2 most weeks. I think Rachaad White's value is coming down as Bucky Irving's role is increasing. So I probably like Ramondre Stevenson a little bit more.
Yeah, I needed to get a little running back because Pacheco got hurt. So
I get it. I'll lean towards Ramondre. I just think I'm not crazy about the Patriots' offensive line. I mean, so.
And I was trading that, but the player I'm trading to also wanted me to throw Romeo Dunze in.
Screw that. No way, man. No way.
No way? All right.
No.
All right, thank you.
Be good. Let's get another caller up on the line. It's going Exploring Walrus. Exploring Walrus. Let's see what Exploring Walrus wants to explore on this call. Walrus, what's good?
Hey, man. How's it going?
How can I help you?
So, for my flex position, I'm torn between starting Brian Thomas Jr. or Alex Pierce. What do you think?
For the moment, I'm going to say Brian Thomas Jr. I think the Alec Pierce love is a little bit overblown after the first 2 weeks. I like him as an option, but I'm going to lean towards Brian Thomas Jr. by just a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Have a good one. Let's get our next caller up on the line. Next caller is going to be Ephraim. Let's see what Ephraim wants to talk about. Ephraim, what's good?
Hello?
What's happening?
Hey, how's it going? I was just wondering, right, so I got a lot of players injured on my fantasy team. I had Cooper Kupp, I had Debo, I had, what's his name? Freaking,
Pacheco?
Puka Nacua.
Oh, okay.
Pacheco. I had so many injuries. I had like 5 players injured. So I picked up some waiver wires. I had some trades going on. So I was just wondering, so I need to bench one of these guys. I have JMO, I have JSN, I have DK Metcalf, and I have Drake London. I need to bench one.
Well, it's going to be between JSN and DK Metcalf because I'm not going to start both Seattle receivers. I'll go DK Metcalf just barely.
Okay.
As in, I would sit JSN. I'd sit JSN.
Oh, you sit JSN?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, he's playing Miami, so I thought the cornerback he's gonna be well against.
I understand that, but there's a part of me that wants to take the number 2 guy. But that said, DK is one big touchdown play away from like answering that, and I feel like JSN, much like the Lockett role, he's gonna get a bunch of catches, but may not get the big play. I'll go DK just because I trust him a little bit more.
Got you. And then I was also wondering, do you trust more? They're both kind of asked. Do you like the Bengals tight end, Mike Gesicki, or you like the Pats tight end more, Hunter Henry?
I'll go Gesicki, Mike Gesicki.
All right, got you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Let's get to our next caller up on the queue. By the way, I'm literally just going with what shows up here because I'm not trying to show any favoritism. So, Ron Brown, you're next up on the line. Let's see what Ron Brown wants to talk about. Ron, what's good?
Hi, buddy. Hey, buddy, I got a trade offer. They're wanting to give me London and Charbonnet for DJ, the Bears receiver.
DJ Moore.
And, DJ Moore and Goddard. Now, that will leave me with picking up a tight end off the waiver, but which way would you go? Because in
what are you getting again? Charbonnet and who?
I'm getting Charbonnet and London.
I like your side of the trade a little bit more. I like what you're getting. I would do it.
What do you think about Walker, though? I've heard he might have to have surgery if they'll.
That's one of the reasons I like it is because I like Drake London the most. He's the player I like most out of the entire deal. And then Charbonnet's got some upside, so it's like, okay, I'm willing to take the best player and a gamble as opposed to the other side of the deal.
Okay, sounds good. And just pick up a waiver off of the...
a tight end off the waiver wire. Yeah, like a Mike Gesicki for the next few weeks. Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Let's get our next caller on the line. 666 Beast Mode is our next caller up in the queue. Let's see what 666 Beast Mode wants to talk about. Beast Mode, what's good?
Hey, sir. How you doing?
Doing well. How can I help you?
Okay, I need pick 3 from these 5. Evans, Godwin, DJ Moore, Zamir White, and Diggs.
Zamir White, Diggs. Remember, he's playing Minnesota. Let's not forget the revenge game.
I was thinking Godwin.
And I'm thinking Godwin is the third, right? I think Godwin is the third.
Now, if Charbonnet does start, would you pick Charbonnet over Zamir White?
No, I would probably pick Charbonnet over Godwin. Zamir White going up against the Panthers. I'm not unless there's any other options that are significantly better. He's finding his way into the lineup.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one. Talk soon. Let's get to our next caller in the queue. It's going to be Yeezy. Yeezy, what's up with Yeezy? Let's see. Yeezy, what's good?
What's going on, boss? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
You got to stay on TikTok, though. Once you leave TikTok, you mute yourself, so I can't hear you.
Damn. All right, so you hear me? All right. So I got Adams, I got Hill, I got Flowers, and I got J-Mo. Who should I start at them for?
How many do I get to start?
2
or 3?
Three.
J-Mo, Flowers for sure, and then what are the two? Who do I have remaining?
I got Hill and Adams.
I'm telling people I'm going Devontae Adams. Look, Tyreek Hill, I don't like the matchup. Seattle's a really good pass defense. It's a long travel game for Miami. First week, full week without Tua. I'm going to avoid him.
I love it. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Let's get to our next caller. Now that we've solved Yeezy's issues, let's go to Hunter Williams. Let's see what Hunter Williams is going to bring up. Hunter, what's good?
What's up? How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How can I help you?
All right. So I was wondering. So I have it's not really a trade. I'm just wondering what I should do with Cooper Kupp. So it's a 12-man PPR. I have Devontae Adams. I have Rashee Rice.
I'm holding on to him. I'm holding on to Cooper Kupp. I'm not going to move on from him too quick. I think Puka Nacua is in a far worse spot in terms of returning this season. So I'll hold on to Cooper Kupp, and I'll just stash him away and see if he gets value back in a month or two.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's it. Thanks.
Have a good day, Hunter. Appreciate the call. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the line is going to be Brandon V. Let's see what Brandon V wants to bring up. Brandon, what's good?
What's good? I just have, I got 2 questions. One, who do I start? Anthony Richardson or Jalen Daniels?
Jaden Daniels.
Okay. And then now that I got reports that Kittle is going to be questionable for this week, I picked Mike Gesicki off the wires.
I like it. He's a good waiver wire option. Yep.
Do I start Gesicki instead if he's not
over Kittle? I'm concerned about Kittle's status, so yeah, I would probably start Gesicki.
Okay. All right, that's all I got.
Have a good one, Brandon. Talk to you soon. Let's get to our next caller on the line. It's going to be Xerxes Y. Xerxes Y is going to be next up on the line. Xerx Y, what's good?
What's up, man?
How can I help you?
All right, so I got a QB issue. For this week, do you think I should go with Baker or Burrow? Both good matchups,
Burrow.
I feel like.
I'm going to lean towards Burrow just barely.
Okay, and then thoughts on Jamar Chase? Is it panic mode yet, or?
No, in part because I like Burrow this week. They kind of line up in the same question, which is I think the Bengals bounce back. I think it's a closer game than the line. I think it's probably Washington covers the spread, but I think the Bengals win, get their first win of the year, and start to slowly build their way back into contention.
Gotcha. All right, last question. So with Kenneth Walker being questionable, missing practice again today, my flex options are going to be Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Carson Steele, and Javonte Williams. Who should I play for my flex?
Hit me with it one more time. Worthy, Steele,
Keon Coleman.
Coleman, yep.
Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Javonte Williams, and Carson Steele.
How many do I get to pick?
Yeah, just one for my flex, yeah.
Damn. It's between Worthy and Keon Coleman for me. I'm going to say Worthy because without Pacheco, I think Worthy's role increases. The Falcons' defense has been good enough against the pass where I'm not like it's a slam dunk. But that said, I like Worthy a little bit more. The problem is Keon Coleman has a great matchup against Jacksonville, but I haven't seen it yet. And until I see it, harder for me to believe in it.
All right, I'm going to go with Worthy. All right, appreciate it, man.
Have a good one. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the line is going to be Frankie. Let's see what Frankie wants to talk about. Frankie's next up. If we can connect. Frankie, you might have a tough connection. Frankie, try us again. Try us again, Frankie. You got a tough connection. Try us again. I'll let you get your spot back once we get there. Let's go to Tem. T-E-M. Tem is next up on the line. See what Tem wants to talk about. Tem, what's good?
You can hear me?
Yes, I can. What's happening?
How's it going? I got a couple of questions. I'm going to be quick. Just traded Amari Cooper for Tank Dale. Thoughts?
That's how I feel. It's kind of like, okay. I'm down on Amari Cooper compared to where I was preseason. What I hate saying it this way, but you're kind of banking on Diggs or Nico Collins going down, and then Tank Dell like booming in that role. So I kind of like the gamble, but I acknowledge that for the moment you went from a wide receiver 1 to a wide receiver 3.
I got you. Okay. Pick 2 out of these running backs: James Conner, Joe Mixon, and then Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs and Connor.
Okay, so would you start Shakir over Mixon?
Yes.
Okay, got you. Appreciate you.
Have a good one. Next caller up on the line is going to be Frankie, because Frankie was there and then he dropped. Bad connection. It happens. Let's see if Frankie can connect this time. Spinning wheel of death, Frankie. We're hoping, but I'm not seeing a connection. I'm sorry, you're in a bad spot for your connection, whoever your provider is. Yikes. Let's go to Peter. Peter's going to be next up on the line as we are working our way through. We've now been on live for 90 minutes, everyone, so we're doing a good job. Peter, what's good?
I was wondering if I should do Mike Evans and David Montgomery for Breece Hall. It's an 8-man league. I have Saquon and James Cook, and my wide receivers are Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, and Jameson Williams.
What's the trade again? Evans and who for who?
And Montgomery for Breece Hall.
I'll do it. It's an 8-man league, so like you're going to be loaded no matter what. You don't have the same depth issues that if you were in a larger league you'd have. If you were in a larger league, I'd say no. In a smaller league, yeah, go for superstars that could win you the league on their own. Yeah, I do the trade.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one, Peter. Appreciate the call. Let's go to our next caller on the line. It's going to be Dalton Smith. Let's see what Dalton Smith wants to talk about. Dalton Smith next up on the line. Dalton, what's good?
Hey, how's it going?
Dalton, you got to stay on TikTok, bud, or otherwise I can't answer your question. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, just 2 questions real quick. So I have J.K. Dobbins and Ferguson. I know Ferguson's is questionable this week. If Ferguson becomes healthy, who should I start between them 2?
Dobbins or Ferguson?
Correct.
Dobbins.
Okay, and then lastly, my second question is, so I have Cooper Kupp on my bench, and I also have Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. How is Brock Bowers not getting in this lineup?
No, I have Brock Bowers in my lineup.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to wonder if I should trade Ferguson away for anything since I already have Brock Bowers.
I think his trade value is pretty low given the injury, so even if you're going to trade him, you're waiting a couple weeks for his value to rebound.
Okay, all right, that's it. Appreciate it.
Have a good one. Let's get to our next caller up on the line. Our next caller is going to be Jessica. Let's see what Jessica wants to talk about. Jessica's our next caller up on the line. Jessica, what's good?
Hey, I just had a quick question for you.
Go for it.
McLaurin or Shakir my flex?
Who is Shakir?
McLaurin.
Oh, Shakir.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Have a great one. Let's get to our next caller on the line. Let's go to Javi. Javi's going to be our next caller. Getting to as many as we can, keeping it fast. Javi, what's good?
Yo, what's up?
How can I help you?
Hey, listen, I have 2 really quick questions for you. I'm very indecisive on this. I have been I've started J.K. Dobbins over the last 2 weeks, monstrous games, and now I know it's not going to keep up. And they play the Steelers this week. So should I start Dobbins or should I start Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard.
Pollard?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, here's a little bit of a risk in the game on my QB situation. I like how Carr's been playing. He's really.
Who are the 2 players? Derek Carr and who?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that is a tough one. I could go either way on that. For the moment, I'm leaning towards Derek Carr just slightly. But to be honest, Kyler Murray's playing so well that I'd be fine with either one if you want to go with Kyler.
Yeah, the only reason I consider Carr is only because of the terrible Eagles.
Yeah, because the Eagles. No, I totally agree with you, but I think you could go either way. I'm going to keep it moving, but yeah, I think Derek Carr is the play for me, but if you went with Kyler, it's a perfectly good option. Let's go to Diego. Diego's going to be next on the line. I'm just keeping him quick so we can get to as many people as we can. Diego, what's up?
What's up, man? A couple questions. Goff or Cousins?
Cousins.
I need a starting receiver, 2 starting receivers. I need St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Xavier Worthy, or it's Brian Thomas Jr.
Man, okay, here's the problem. I really don't want to double up on a quarterback and a receiver. So you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and London?
Yes, sir.
Damn. Okay. I'm gonna flip my answer from a moment ago, okay? I'm gonna say no, I'm not. I'm gonna say go with Kirk Cousins, go Amon-Ra St. Brown, go Drake London. I don't like doubling up, but the Chiefs have been so bad against the pass. And then what are my options for the flex?
Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr., and David Montgomery.
I'm leaning towards Xavier Worthy a little bit, but I understand that if you wanted to go Garrett Wilson, I just don't like the matchup tonight. They're going to throw at him a lot, but it's tough coverage against them. It's a bit of a coin flip between those two.
Okay, so Xavier Worthy?
Yeah, I think so. Have a good one. We'll talk to you again soon. Let's go to Mason. Mason's next up on the line. Keeping it quick so we can get to as many questions as we can. Mason, what's good?
Good, man. How are you?
How can I help you?
Good. I kind of just have one question. And I'm kind of iffy. The one thing that's kind of hurting on my team, I feel like right now, is my tight end position, which I have Sam Laporta, but
I would hold out with Sam Laporta. I'm not going to panic.
No, you aren't? I'd hold out?
Yep.
Okay, because last game I think only had 2 of 3 receiving.
I'm not going to sweat it. It's just 2 weeks. He's so talented. I think opposing defenses are aware of him because of last year. Now that Jameson Williams taking off, I think defenses are going to shift their focus from Laporta to him. It's going to open up Laporta more.
Okay, man. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Have a good one. Let's talk to Jake. Jake's going to be next up on the line. Let's see what Jake wants to talk about. Jake, what's good?
Yo. What's up? So I just have a question about DK. He had a great week, but I feel like JSN is going to take over in Seattle. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to take over the number 1 spot. I think JSN's past Lockett, and I think he's the clear number 2. I don't think he's going to take over the number 1 spot just yet.
Okay, so in terms of DK, you think I should just keep him on my team right now?
Yes, I do.
All right, that's it.
Have a good one. Getting to our next caller. Next could be Ron Brown. Let's see what Ron Brown wants to talk about. Ron Brown's going to be next up on the line. Ron, what's good?
Hey, I asked you about the trade earlier. Now, would you take Strange or Ertz, Zach Ertz, off of for this week? There's not a lot left. We got a 14-team league, so there's not a lot. Which one would you take, Strange or Ertz?
Strange or Ertz? Wow.
Zach Ertz.
No. I know. I'm more like, wow, you have a league that's that deep. Jesus.
I know. It's 14 teams. That's what I'm saying. You told me to go ahead and do the Goddard trade. Would you just hold off on that trade this week and keep Goddard? They just haven't been throwing him the ball very much.
Yeah, and I'm still not crazy about him. So, is that the only
really, the tight ends, man, are down this year so far.
Is Kobe Parkinson available? Is Kobe Parkinson available of the?
Oh, I got him.
Then I'd probably play him.
The weather in.
He'd be the one I'd play.
Okay, and then I got a quarterback question. I'll let you go. I've got Goff, the Chargers quarterback, and then I got the old Bears quarterback.
Goff. I'd go Goff.
Okay, go Goff. Would you run with Goff most of the year with that?
Yep. And here's why.
Okay.
He's only playing 3 games outside a dome all season long. Green Bay, Chicago, San Francisco. Those are the only road games he's playing this year where he's playing outside in conditions. I think he's going to have a good year. I think last week was just a bad performance.
So you look for his touchdowns to pick up.
Yep.
Touchdown passes.
Yep, I think he's going to bounce back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, Ron. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the line is going to be Jack. Let's see what Jack wants to talk about. Jack's our next caller. Jack, what's good?
Quick question. I have 2 of them. Burrow or Stroud this week?
I'm going to lean towards Burrow just barely.
Okay, and then one more. Mike Gesicki or Hunter Henry for this week?
Gesicki, I don't love that I'm giving you doubling up on the Bengals advice, though. So I'm not crazy about it, but the answer is those are the 2 plays I'd go with.
All right, thank you, boss.
You have a good one, Jack. Talk soon. Let's get to our next caller. Next is going to be Lenvy. Lenvy is going to be next up on the line. Let's see what Lenvy wants to talk about. Lenvy, what's good?
What's up? So should I start Brock Bowers or Sam Laporta?
You got to go with Brock Bowers right now. As much as I like Sam Laporta to bounce back, Brock Bowers is the number one tight end in the league right now. So I got to ride with him.
Okay, and my second question is, do I start Ramondre Stevenson or Aaron Jones?
Ramondre Stevenson just barely. But yes,
All right,
that's what
one last question. Do I start JSN or Waddle?
I'm leaning toward JSN, actually, believe it or not.
Alrighty.
Have a good one, Levy.
Have a good night.
Let's get to our next caller. Next is going to be Matt T. Matt T. Matt T. Let's see if Matt T can join. Matt T, what's good?
Hey, how are you?
How can I help you?
I'm in an 8-man league, and I have McCaffrey and Puka, and I was wondering what I should do with them.
Puka, I think, could be out for a long time. McCaffrey, I'm hoping it's only the 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm concerned about both of them. I'd probably stash them on your bench because I don't know if they have a lot of trade value right now. Maybe in a couple weeks, if news about their rehab is positive, maybe you could trade them then when the trade value comes back a little bit. But for right now, I think they're just taking up a spot on your bench unless you have a trade partner that you can find.
Okay. Also, do you think Rashid Shaheed is going to continue?
Yes, at least this week. Eagles have a terrible pass defense. I like Shaheed this week.
Okay. Thanks.
Have a good one. Let's get to our next caller. Next up on the line is going to be Alex. Let's see what Alex wants to talk about. Alex is our next caller up on the line. Alex, what's good?
Hey, how's it going?
How can I help you?
Alrighty, so right now I'm in a 2-flex league. I think it's 10-man. So my lineup right now, I have Baker Mayfield, I have Rashee Rice, I have Amon St. Brown as my receivers. My running backs are Jacobs and Taylor. And for my tight end, I have Likely. And for my 2-flex, this is where I'm kind of struggling on who I should put in. I have Kenneth Walker right now, who's questionable. And then I have, what's his name? I have Shaheed. So on my bench, I have Zamir White.
I'd start Zamir White over Kenneth Walker.
Over Kenneth Walker?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Have a good one, Alex.
All right. Thank you.
Let's get to our next caller. Let's go to Jay Strizzle. Jay Strizzle is the next person in the queue. Next up on the line. Let's see what Jay wants to talk about. Jay, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How can I help you?
Man, I got a hell of a situation. Jamison Williams, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson, and Brandon Ayuk. Rashee Rice starts every week. Who are you taking?
Brandon Ayuk.
And then what?
Between Jamison Williams...
Flowers, Jamison Williams, and Garrett Wilson.
I'm missing one. Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams. Who's the third?
Zay Flowers.
I'd go with Zay Flowers for this week.
So Zay Flowers...
Rashee Rice and Brandon Ayuk for this week.
Because I'm losing faith in Garrett Wilson, man.
I don't like Garrett Wilson this week. I think his value is going to bounce back. He's just had some tough matchups. If you actually look at it, he played the 49ers week 1. He played Snead week 2, and he plays Christian Gonzalez week 3. So he's just faced some good corners and some good defenses. So I think his value's there season long, but yeah, I think he's not getting off to the kind of start fantasy owners were hoping for.
All right. Thank you, man. I'm going to rock with it.
Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Let's get to our next caller up on the line. Next is going to be Jordan. Let's see what Jordan wants to talk about. Let's see what Jordan's question is. Jordan, what's good?
Hey, how's it going?
How can I help you?
So this is my first time playing fantasy football.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah, I got someone to agree to a trade, and I'm getting some backlash from the other guys in my league, and I want to know if I can defend this.
Go for it.
So I am getting Jamar Chase, Terry something wide receiver for the
McLaurin.
Yeah, him, and the Kansas City backup running back. And I'm giving up...
Steele or Pirine?
Pure.
Pirine. Okay, go ahead.
And I got... and I'm giving up... What was it? I'm giving up Drake London, Jordan Mason, and Brandon Cooks. Is this defensible on my end? And, how do I convince my league mate to go along with this?
What are you getting again? Jamar Chase, P. Ryan and who?
Terry.
It's not that egregious. It's not that bad.
You're just being butthurt.
Yeah. Do I think that you're getting the better of the deal? Probably not. But it's closer to fair than it is egregious. I take calls on here every day. I answer questions every day from fantasy owners, and I hear way worse trades. I hear about, frankly, things that should send people to jail. This isn't that bad. Is it a good trade? It's okay. It's fine. I think you're not winning it, but it's okay.
All right. Thanks, man.
No problem. Happy to resolve and get some of those other fantasy owners off your back. Let's go to Jay Renee. Let's see what Jay Renee wants to talk about. Jay Renee is next up on the line in the queue. Let's see what Jay Renee wants to talk about. Jay, what's good?
Hey, what's going on? First and foremost, thank you again. I do 2 fantasy leagues, so yesterday your advice was great, but I got a similar lineup. Don't judge me for almost drafting the same team in my other one.
It's okay.
So I got Kamara, Jacobs at my starting RBs, Henry at flex again, but my receiver isn't Harrison and CD at this time. I got Jefferson and Higgins, and I got Reed on the bench. I don't know who I should put in as my starting receivers.
Jefferson,
T. Higgins, and then Jalen Reed on the bench.
I'm picking one of those or 2 of those.
I'm going with Jefferson almost guaranteed.
Right.
He's going to get the rock. But
yeah.
At my T. Higgins or Jalen Reed, that's where I'm shaky at.
For the moment, if T. Higgins plays this week, if we get clearance by Sunday, obviously he's playing Monday night, but I'd go with T. Higgins if I could.
T. Higgins, okay. And is that based on the quarterback situation in the Packers? Because Love may not be the starter, or is that?
It has to do with 2 factors. One, I actually think that the Bengals are going to have a good week this week, and if T. Higgins is on the field, I think he's going to contribute to that. But the other part of it is Washington doesn't have a second corner. They might be able to cover Chase, but I think they'll struggle against the second receiver of the Bengals. If Higgins is out, it's one of the reasons I like Gesicki so much. But with Reed, I like him. But to your point, I just have some question marks around that team right now.
Okay, that makes sense. And then with the whole secondary, it does make sense with Higgins. They're 2 different type of receivers. You got a linky body type with Higgins, and then you got short, fast.
Yeah, they're utilized differently. Much different players.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Have a good one, Jay. Okay, guys, so we've been on for about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to go get some dinner right now. We will be back live a little bit later tonight. We are doing a subscriber-only show. So if I didn't get to your call, if I didn't get to you, I'm so sorry. We answered a ton. Forgive me. I am so sorry. But that said, I will be back live during the second half of tonight's game. If you're a subscriber, we'll answer all your questions. We do the best we can. I know we disappoint some people because we don't get to their questions. But given how many people join the show, how many calls we take, it's never personal. It's never like me going, oh, I see that one handle, I'm going to avoid them. Just a lot of things coming at me, so we do the best we can. I hope you guys take it all with a bit of patience and a grain of salt. That said, I'm going to jump off now since we have been live for a long time. I will be back on later tonight. We will be live on TikTok at around 10 p.m., maybe a little bit earlier, depends. I'll probably be on for the second half of the Thursday night football game. So for the second half of the Thursday night football game, I will be live on TikTok for subscribers. So you want to join us, ask some more questions, get some more advice, you can join us tonight for the second half of the game. Just subscribe on TikTok. Easiest way to do it. Warren, thanks so much for the ham. Subscribe on TikTok, Eric. Great to see you. Welcome to the community. Can't wait to see you for tonight's conversation. Again, we'll be live at around, let's say, the second half of the game, but for sure by 10 o'clock, everybody. So happy to be able to talk sports with you guys every day. It's an absolute joy. I hope you enjoy our content, enjoy our conversation. Look forward to more of it this evening. Until then, I hope you guys stay healthy. I hope you stay safe. And I cannot wait to talk some more fantasy football with you guys later tonight. Until then, enjoy Thursday Night Football, everybody. Goodbye. Catch you guys later, okay?